Hey gang, Schlocktoberfest needs money. With a review of the movie From Dusk Till Dawn, Texas Blood Money. Well, this pretty much has nothing to do with the original. But it's about a guy named Buck who gets a call from an old prison mate of his named Luther that he wants to get the band back together, not to perform songs at little get-togethers and things like that. No, he wants to get the band back together to go rob a bank. And of course, Buck has a sheriff named Otis on his tail. So while Buck and the gang is getting back together, there's a slight problem. It's a vampire problem. So, yeah, the gang pretty much becomes vampires, except for Buck, of course. But Buck is not quite 100% sure about his fellow members being vampires just yet, until he discovers it happening. And so when the police arrive at the bank, Buck tries to warn them all about his friends, but, well, of course, they don't listen, and you can guess what happens when they go inside the bank after they throw some smoke bombs and try to get in there through the roof and everything like that. Yeah, nothing goes really well. So for a moment there, it seems like everything's gonna go pretty doggone well when the sun comes out and it looks like it's gonna finally get rid of all those no good, nasty vampires. But as soon as the sun comes up, shortly after, an eclipse happens. So then the fight is on, as the only ones left standing to try and take out the vampires once and for all are Buck and Otis. Of course, Buck and Otis have a deal made to where Buck can get a good running start if all goes well. And as you may have guessed, all goes well because Buck and Otis are the only ones left standing after the eclipse is gone. The sun comes out and takes care of the rest of the vampires. So before Buck takes off, he and Otis kind of wonder why in the name of Dracula do vampires want money for? And there are a lot of questions about this movie I have, and I imagine none of them are going to get answered. The movie stars Robert Patrick from Terminator 2, Bo Hopkins from a lot of B movies, Danny Trejo, Tiffany Thiessen, and Bruce Campbell. So why did this movie suck? Well, you guys know I was not too crazy about the first From Dusk Till Dawn movie. But this one, I have to say I probably didn't like it any more than I liked the first one. In fact, I probably liked this one even less than the first one. I don't know what was up with those camera shots, honestly. We have, spin around, dog drinking water camera shot. And then when Buck and Otis are going to finally square off against the vampires, they use so many different things to take them out. In fact, at one point, they use a red cross in the back of an ambulance, and that takes out a vampire. It's like, what? And the beginning of the movie is a movie within a movie, as they like to call it, because it has Bruce Campbell and Tiffany Thiessen, and it kind of throws you off, makes you think, well, maybe this isn't really the beginning of the movie. Well, technically it is, because you find out that Buck was actually watching a movie with those two in it, and from there the movie just goes from bad to worse. Not a great sequel, but I've heard good things about Part 3, and hopefully I'll get a chance to check it out one of these days. But good God Almighty, this movie was just plain horrible. Alright, let me get some shout outs to some fellow YouTubers. Hope you guys will go check out their channels and hopefully subscribe to them. So I want to get some shout outs to Watch Movies Now. It's a channel that has pretty much a lot of low budget independent movies, a lot of low budget horror movies on there. Movie Nights, Fiction Addiction, Karate Popcorn, And since it doesn't look like there's going to be a WWE pay-per-view picks video done this weekend, I want to give one out to Danny Knightmare. But there you guys have it, a review of From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money. Love to hear from you guys in the comments below about what you think about this movie, whether you agree or disagree, and do you think it was better than the first one? Or how do you feel about it? Love to hear from you guys. And of course, if you like my videos, always feel free to subscribe. If you got a horror, sci-fi horror, comedy horror, fantasy horror that had very little bite to it, I can't believe I said that. Send it my way and I'll get on it ASAP. And Schlocktoberfest will keep going till Halloween when I'm saving the worst for last. I hope you guys will be ready for that one. So until then, thanks for watching, everybody. God bless you all. And until next time, as always, stay strong and rock on.